everybody, it's Bardix, and I'm going to play some Kerbal Space Program. I'm going to try to get something to the moon real quick. I've done this a lot, so it shouldn't necessarily take me a while, but we're going to do... I'm going to try to use all the parts that someone who just started would be able to do, or if you're playing in career mode, or if you're playing in sandbox mode, this won't matter to you, but if you're playing in career mode, it definitely will. So... we had a pretty good ship going earlier. Now, granted, this is a really rough ship. And I believe we can get to the moon with this. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. Now, there are two methods to get to the moon. One of them is an orbit. You can sort of get in an orbit around Kerbin and then use that speed to get to the moon. And that's one way. But the way that I like to do it is my way is really unorthodox. I like to just shoot straight there. Most people I know get into orbit first, and then they get into orbit around Kerbin first, and that's great. But we're gonna do it differently. So what we're gonna do is first, before we launch, is we're gonna line up, and I haven't have a separate video set up that will show you guys what I was thinking when I was building this ship. I've been playing KSP for a while, so I just sort of know the basics of flight and whatnot and building ships. So. I'm not saying that I'm any good. I'm just saying that I've been playing, so I have a little bit of experience. Okay. Valentina Kerman, are you ready? Can you feel it, Mr. Krebs? Well, she's going to feel the G-forces here pretty soon. Okay, so the reason I set this up is because what you got to understand is that the moon does indeed have velocity, so it's not just going to stay there. So you can't just fly there, right? You can't just fly there. Because by the time you get to that spot, the moon will be here, per se, or it'll be, at some point, it'll be ahead. So what I do is I sort of plan ahead, so I'm literally just going to point straight up, and I'm hoping that the moon will be about here when I get close, and I'll explain why. I don't want any of those, actually. I just want Kerbin, actually. Wait. I would really like Kerbin. Okay, this is fine. Right now, focus is mud, and then we're just going to do... okay, there we go. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're all set up. We sort of... and now, the way that I got myself in position was just by warping. If you use these warps, you can sort of set up the position accordingly to what you want. So, okay, we are going to full throttle, although it doesn't matter because we've got solid fuel on the first stage, so we're going to go ahead and take off. Okay, now the whole basis of this mission is just to get to the moon. I'm going to try to get back, but getting back is a different feat. So we will get to the moon and then get back from the moon, hopefully safe and sound. Valentina will be able to see her children if she has any again, and it'll be grand. Alright, so right now I've got SAS on a stability assist. I'm literally not even touching the keyboard. Okay, and then we will be running out of fuel. Now, whenever I do this, I like to stay in stage mode or stage view with my fuel or my resources tab up. That way, I can sort of tell when exactly we're going to be running out, and then off we go. And I'm at full throttle now. One thing to think about is the further you get away from Earth, the more thrust you're going to have. I believe that's a combination of less gravity and when you're out of the atmosphere, you're going to have the most thrust because you're not going to have to deal with wind resistance. Or you're not going to have to deal with any sort of aerodynamic resistance or any wind resistance. So we're literally just pointed straight up. Now you can see, if you look down here, right where the cursor is, I'm pointing straight up. Now, the reason I'm doing that, well, let's see if we can't find Mun. Oh, is that it right there? Oh, there it is. I'm blind. So what's happening is that the moon is actually moving this way. So we're just sort of pointing right about there, hoping that when we get to our spot, that the moon will be there. And we're really hoping. So normally I hit it right on the head, but we'll see. So now one thing I like to do is I like to bring up my globe, my nav ball, and then I like to pay attention to my apoapsis. That way I know sort of when we get close to 11 million, I want to start slowing down. Now what you can do is you don't even have to use shift or shift or control to increase or decrease thrust. What you can do is going to increase your thrust to 1%, you press Z. But if I were to press X, watch my throttle goes all the way down. It completely cuts the throttle. So yeah. Now I do believe we've got to get to about 26 to 2,700 meters. So we've got a little ways to go, but we're doing okay. All right, and off we go. Now the reason I use these, I believe those are Poodle? Terrier. Poodle is the larger version. The Terriers is because they're incredibly efficient as far as thrust to, or weight to mass, or weight to thrust ratio, and they are really, really fuel efficient. If you guys can watch the fuel, instead of going down really rapidly like uh, the other motors I was using, or the other engines I was using, these ones are a lot more efficient in their fuel usage. Now, granted, we don't have a lot of thrust, but we're in a vacuum, so we don't need to worry about having a lot of thrust. Little thrust in a vacuum gets you a long way. Okay, you're watching my app-wapsis, and this is exactly why, because it can really get out of hand. Watch how much it starts to grow. It starts to really, really, really get out of hand. Okay, so we are going to keep an eye on this, and as soon as I see a sort of interaction, which I should, I'm going to stop it right there. As soon as I saw the interaction, if we weren't to see an interaction, we would literally just see the blue line. We wouldn't see any of this secondary orbit or these interaction as far as encounter and escapes. Now, what the encounter and the escapes mean, if you guys don't know, is the encounter means that you're sort of in some way being affected, where you're either being affected by Mun's gravity, or you're going to sort of pass by it. And so here's what we're going to do. We are going to, I cut my thrust entirely. Got a little bit of fuel left. What we're going to do is we're going to warp to this point right here. And you guys I will sort of, can we not warp here? Yes, we can warp here. So we are getting closer to the moon. To Mun. Hello, Mun. Closer and closer we do get, and hit escape. Wait, no. And you can see we are approaching Mun, or it is approaching us as we are approaching it. Okay, so now what we got is we sort of see how we are wrapping around Mun. Now what that means is that we've got so much speed that instead of catching in its gravity, we are sort of getting a little dose of the gravity, and then we are shooting off because we have so much speed. So all we have to do is decrease our speed. Okay, so what I did was I warped it a little bit. Now how you decrease your speed, just so you guys know, is you're going to go retrograde. So if you look at prograde means that's going to be increasing your speed. Basically, there's a lot more into it, but basically you'll increase your speed. If you want to burn retrograde, then if you want to burn retrograde, you'll be decreasing your speed. Watch. Increase my thrust, or my throttle, and my speed decreases. Now I don't want to do this yet, but we're going to sort of wait. So we will warp there, and I believe we're going to be getting really close, which is really good. That means that we're really, really efficient with our fuel. So about now, I believe, at some point in the near future. Okay, right here. We're really, really close. I'm going to burn prograde right now, everything I got. Now watch what happens. As we decrease our speed, like I said, we're going to be more and more affected by Mun's gravity until we are finally brought into an orbit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to keep burning retrograde so that I no longer orbit Mun, but I'm going to fall onto the surface of Mun. And as of right now, I can't tell exactly, but we will. How do I do this? I really want to. I don't want this as my target anymore. There we go. Okay, we can see. There we go. All right, now I'm going to keep burning until these lines flatten out. That way I'm going to be going straight onto the surface instead of sort of coming in at an angle. I don't want to be coming in at an angle. You can, it's just a little bit harder to land. And X to cut thrust, and actually we're going to burn retrograde again because we want to straighten out our lines a little bit. Straighten out, and cut. Okay, we can see this returning to the top. Now that's basically where we're leading going down. So what we're going to do is keep our throttle up a little bit that way until we return all the way to center. That means we're going to be coming straight down, perfectly straight down onto the surface of Mun. Excellent. Now we are going to keep aligned retrograde. You don't have to necessarily keep aligned retrograde, but what you can do is, and this is really good news because I've still got a little bit of fuel left to burn on my way down onto the planet. That way we sort of save fuel. This has been a really, really efficient use of my fuel. It's been really, really good. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to sort of wait until we sort of build up speed. I'm going to actually warp until about 20,000 meters above the surface. Then what we're going to do is we are going to bring our throttle up just a little bit. That way we're slowly decreasing while we're going down. You don't want to burn all the way up because what will happen is you will actually start, if you're not watching it carefully, what you'll do is instead of falling down, you'll start going up off the surface, and because Mun has very, very low gravity compared to Kerbin. Right, and activate our final stage, and we very well might be able to get back. I am confident that we should be able to get back. We shall find out. Okay, so I'm just keeping my throttle up a little bit. Now, here's what I'll do. Let me explain this real quick. The reason that I like having any sort of debris that'll fall off of my ship, any stage that I can wait until we're close to the Mun surface, is I will keep track of its distance. And what I'll do is I will subtract that from my distance to know, because this isn't necessarily 0. It might be, but it's not. It's most likely not 0. It's very, very rare that you'll land on any part of Mun where this is 0. So what we'll do is I'm going to track this and see when it stops. And then what that'll do is that'll give me a more accurate reading of my altitude than this. So I'm going to keep my throttle up just a little bit, probably about 10%. And see, they're still going down, and they will hit at some point soon, hopefully. Okay, we're actually, okay, they just hit. So increase throttle, that means we're really close. We are really, really close. I need to really, really decrease my speed. Okay, that's okay, that's okay, that's okay. Looks like we're going to be landing on a hill. I don't really want to, okay, see, I just did what I didn't want to do. We might be landing on a hill, and I don't necessarily want to do that. Okay. Let's just go ahead and give it a shot. It's still doable. Because a lot of the times, guys, you guys will encounter this. You will end up landing on. What you can do is we could actually position so that we would be able to land over there. But I don't necessarily want to do that. I want to show you guys how to land when it's difficult. Okay, so while I'm going down, I'm going to slowly increase my throttle. Okay. Okay. And what I like to do is I like to actually use my shadow. I don't know where it is. I might not even have one. If anything, it'd be way over there. There it is. Okay. Did it again. I wasn't watching my throttle. I wasn't watching my speed like I should have been. Okay, so as we go down, I'm going to watch my shadow. The closer it gets, I'm going to increase my throttle. So you guys can see everything's becoming a little bit more detailed. Okay, I was starting to go up there. When I get close, I'm going to sort of burn. Okay. So we're sort of bouncing off. And I'm going to get close. And then I want to slowly increase throttle. I'm going to do. This is really rough. That was probably about the. Okay, I'm trying to bounce so I can sort of counteract. Oh, okay. We landed. We didn't land how I wanted to, but that's because I messed up. So if you guys would have done that right, what you would have wanted to do is as you're coming down, slowly increase your throttle very, 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 very little. Very, very little. That way, as soon as you sort of get close and touch, you can cut your throttle, and then you'll just sort of fall very slowly down there. So we might be able to get back. Let's go ahead and I'll save that for the next video, guys. And then there will also be another video sort of explaining how to build this ship if you guys just want to give it a shot. Thanks for watching this, guys. I appreciate it. I'll try to cut down the length, but if it ends up being 15 minutes, it ends up being 15 minutes. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out some of my other videos. Thanks.
Waiting for you.
Goodbye. Hey. Sorry, why not to the back?